Good afternoon, friends and comrades. We just had a successful trek over to the swamplands, and now we're taking a little breather. I'm going to be going ahead and doing a brief workshop. And my workshop is on Focoism, or Focismo. Foco in Spanish means focus. And it was a guerrilla strategy invented by Che Guevara, based in his book, Guerrilla Warfare, that was released in 1960. It's a tactic that's within the context of fighting a reactionary dictatorship. And we could have one here at home. Essentially, it's a movement from the countryside to the cities or the urban areas, using vanguard forces were therefore hard to capture. An example of guerrilla warfare within our own country could be here in Florida. You can look at the three Seminole Wars. The United States, it is said, we've lost 2 wars. The war in Vietnam and the war in Afghanistan. It's not true. We've lost 5. Because all 3 Seminole Wars, the Seminoles were successful. The Seminoles' secret weapon were the runaway slaves. And when they were surrounded in the swamplands and the Everglades, and they continued to resist the American forces that took over after Spain left here in Florida, the American forces told them, "Give us your slaves and we'll leave you alone." And the Seminoles responded, "We have no slaves." The southern route of the Underground Railroad that Harriet Tubman led brought runaway slaves to northern Florida, who were received by their Seminole comrades under Seminole protection. And this is a part of history largely ignored. There's been no Hollywood movies about it, but it was a successful guerrilla struggle. Osceola, the great Seminole warrior, came up with the idea to head farther south to resist in the swamplands of the Everglades. When they brought cannons to fight them, they got stuck in the mud. And so it was hand-to-hand combat in a lot of situations. And those Seminole guerrilla forces were successful, much like the guerrilla forces Marx wrote about in Spain, who resisted the French occupiers. And then you have, of course, what I mentioned earlier, the history of guerrilla resistance in Latin America, led by Che and others. So something to look at. If the United States has a counter-revolution that results in a full-blown reactionary dictatorship, we can look to use these Foco strategies. I'm going to be getting more in depth into that. Stop filming.